Hi everyone. This is Nannette, and I'm here with my good friend Sarah Kajawa, who
Hi.
also has the Facebook group Doing Grief Differently with Adam and Sarah, which is below if you'll go ahead and click on it. And I'm going to turn it over to her to introduce the topic of the
Oh,
day.
okay. Well, thank you, Nanette.
Mhm.
So we chatted a little bit earlier this week, and we're talking about all the different energy spikes that are going on the planet right now, all across from the wildfires to wartime to all kinds of issues in the U.S. with COVID and political issues. So we wanted to kind of like bring it down to our level and talk about how the energy spikes affect us personally and how we can notice them and whether we should take it on as ours, if it separate it, heal from it, learn from it, and progress and move forward. So that was what we decided we'd talk about today. So
Yes.
yeah. Now we're both on the screen, Nannette. Is that okay?
No, I don't know how we're both on the screen. Really?
Yeah, we're both on the screen.
That's because that's just on your screen. It doesn't mean when I put it up, it'll be.
Normally it's not
Hey,
though. Normally when we
oh,
record,
really?
yeah.
So maybe we're gonna be surprised this time. So
So
don't
don't be
pick your
picking your
nose if
nose.
I'm talking. Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So
All
we're
right.
talking about how the energy, even since the beginning of August, usually you can tell all of you, they're in tune with the energy. You can tell like usually in August in the US, there is a change because people are changing their schedules. We're getting back into the school year. It's just a change. People are unsettled, coming back
And
from
there's the
vacation.
Lions Gate, which I'm gonna
Lionsgate,
throw in there. Yep.
summer winding down, a spike in like the temperatures, in the US because it's
Mm-hmm.
summertime. There's different things like that we can recognize. But of course, throwing in a wrench from 2020, it's like we never know what to, we don't have a pattern to follow per se. So we don't know what was going on. So that's where we are. People are, holding on to the end of their chairs and not sure if they should get up, move, sit still, take a deep breath, get excited. But a lot of people, including you and I, sometimes we have a knee jerk reaction to something. If we just settle down, go back to heart center, kind of feel into it, take some deep breaths, then we can go, oh, okay, it's not mine. It's someone else's projected,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was on media, neighbor, someone at the store, someone you may have gotten a message from,
Someone at the
someone
nail salon who was pointing
the
fingers.
nail salon. So so the story is I went in to get a pedicure. I'd like to go in there every 4 to 8 weeks. My feet need it, and it's just relaxing, for them to massage your feet. So
Mm-hmm.
and this one's pretty particular. They check your temperature, and you have to wear a mask and the whole thing. Um, and so if I went earlier in the day, and they said, no, it's going to be a longer wait. And I said, okay. So they said, come back in 30 minutes. And I said, no, I'll come back later in the afternoon. So I said, I'll just ask my guys, I'll ask Adam, when's a good time for me to go back where I don't have to sit and wait? Okay. Because 20 or 30 minutes means an hour when you're at a salon. That's just how it
Yeah.
is. I'm sorry. And they said around 2:15, 2:30, somewhere around there. So that's when I went back. Sure enough, they got me right in. I sit down. Now there's like 5 petty chairs. One other person's getting a petty. They seat me right next to her, not in the vacant spots, even though they got plexiglass in between or whatever, but within earshot. So I can hear everything this woman is saying on the phone because her phone kept vibrating. Then it was pinging. Then she turned the volume up, and then you can hear the loud ring because she was waiting for a call. So meanwhile, I'm listening. I can't help but not listen. And she's talking loud because she has a mask on. So everyone in the salon can hear her conversation. And it wasn't a good vibration conversation. It was all about her friend, her neighbor, was calling to inform her about a mutual friend or a mutual neighbor that was infected with the new variant of COVID
Mm.
And they were going back and forth. Did she have the shot? Had she had the shot? They were going back and forth. It's like they couldn't hear and understand each other over the phone because she had a mask on, which the mask
Mm-hmm.
has nothing to do with the hearing. But you know how that sometimes we talk louder when we can't hear, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So it just kept getting louder. And I'm thinking, what the heck? This is not why I came to the salon, so she could massage my feet so I could hear this garbage next to me. But I asked, what's the lesson? What's the purpose? So meanwhile, on the other side, just at the manicure station, the owner of the salon had her daughter there, and she was putting on the gel nails or the tips in a fluorescent orange. Her girlfriend was getting another fluorescent color. And they were so excited because they were leaving for Miami and then on to the Bahamas. I think it was Bahamas. But they were all talking about their trip and everything. They were all excited. And the mom who owns the salon was going on and listening. But you have two extremes within like 12 feet. One, this woman who felt safe enough to go get a pedicure, but yet she's very concerned about the neighbor, whether she had the shot or not had the shot, and all
Mm-hmm.
that whole story. And then on this side of the room, we had these two women that are in their mid-20s, all excited about their trip to Miami and making sure their nail colors, match all their outfits. Okay. And I thought, how beautiful of a scenario that I was supposed to eavesdrop on, because I know this woman that owns the salon, and that they are very strict with their protocol to follow. And then the woman that was getting the pedi, she was explaining, because I could hear the conversation of the woman. That's how loud her phone was. I could hear her friend talking, through the
Oh,
phone.
wow.
And was saying, oh, you need to be safe. You need to be really safe while you're getting a pedicure. Da, 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 da. She wanted to go get a pedicure, and she has her mask on and everything. But the point being, how can you be extra safe when you're already there getting a pedicure? It's not like I'm going to ricochet the virus off when everyone is, you know what I mean? And I'm not making fun of it, but yet I am. It's just I had two different extremes, two different realities. And I thought, I'm sitting in the middle and I've got to listen in one ear on this conversation, one ear on this. And I'm just trying to relax and hold my space and go, so different, so different. So different parts of the world, people are in different places, whatever's going on in their life. Some people are dealing with, a loved one who is very ill with a disease, with cancer, or they're taking care of a loved one. The other people are dealing with focusing on the wildfires, or we have wartime, Afghanistan. We've got things going on multi levels. So it's whatever you put your focus on, the universe is going to reinforce it with more things to back up whatever you're feeling and focusing on. So if you're focusing on something sad, negative, scary, the universe is going to bring a person to you behind the line in the store that's going to be talking on their phone to reinforce what you've been focusing on. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to really pay attention. So it's not that there is more to fear. You're bringing, by having that fear magnet, you're going to notice and hear more. You're not going to get in the line with the happy camper. You're going to get in the line with someone who's very upset or
Which
distraught.
is what this is a focal point for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're noticing it, and if you're being the observer of it and not just having it done to you, right? Then it's a focal point. This is where I need to clean up, because we've been in these situations, both of us, and we've had very hard things to deal with that we walked through and became the champion on the other side. And these focal points we decided to be an observer of, right? And otherwise, what's the point, right? What's the point?
Right.
So when you do understand the law of attraction and you do understand your own power, then you become the observer and you say, oh shit, I got to stop this, because especially if it's life or death, which is not always, but your life is, you get to a point where you're like, I've had enough of this cycle. You have to be the observer of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so these things come in and they show you. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like when you're in that cycle, but you don't know how to get off the cycle. You don't know how to get off the treadmill because you're in that thought. And then you realize, oh my God, it's my thought that's attracting it.
Yes.
And then you're going, ting. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But you don't, that takes, like, especially if you're stubborn. I'm very stubborn. So I'll take the hit on this, especially if you're stubborn. You don't ever want to be, it's not me. You know what? If he doesn't stop doing that, if she doesn't stop doing that, damn it, they're doing this shit. It's not me. It's not me. I'm perfect.
That's right. Or if those dogs next door don't quit barking, I swear I'm going to go over and da 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 da. You know what? But if I'm in a good mood and I'm centered, the dogs aren't going to bother me as much.
No.
I'll hear them, but it'll pass through. It won't be like I'm hung up on it.
Oh, yeah.
You can pay attention. You just notice it. So when you can't control the external, but you can control the volume of the external.
You can control the observe. Yeah, that's the thing, right? What's the thing? You can understand that you, when you're in that mood, want the whole world to change for you, and that's not the proper. That's not going to work.
It's not going to work. It never works. It never works.
It's like you think maybe your kids. You can't even control your kids at any point in time. Like, you can't control your kids, and so you think you're going to control the dog. You think you're going to control the neighbors upstairs. You think you're going to control the people that drive on the street.
Or the weather.
Yeah, or the weather. Yeah.
And the more angry we get, or the lower we drop into our yuck, the more angry, the more it brings to us.
Yes.
And then when you let go and go, okay, wait a minute. Let me hit a reboot. Let me drop into center. Let me go walk. Let me do something, distract myself and shift and get more general and shift again.
Breathe. Yes. And the thing about this that it does for you is it's really, because I've been still working hard on this stuff and myself, that when I understand no matter what it is, it's always about me if I'm upset. So when someone else gets upset,
that's a hard one.
Yeah, when someone else gets upset, even if it seems personal toward me, I just breathe through it now. I'm like, you know what? This has nothing to do with me. Like, I'm not the reason they're upset. They're just upset and they're trying to put it out on me. And if I don't take it, then I'm not going to continue this line, this complete line. This can go all around the freaking world in 30 seconds. Okay.
Yeah. That's right. It'll just keep on going. But we always want to control the external of what's happening. And that's not what we can't. And that's what changes our whole, when we change our thought process around it first, because you can't wait for anything out there to be peaceful. It's been proven a gajillion times, but somehow we think if this happens, or if this could be fixed, or if that person would quit that, it's still no.
And isn't this true surrender? This is true surrender. I've been doing a whole surrender series. I should put it in a playlist. I've been doing a whole surrender series. This is true surrender, right? When you understand that you don't need the world to change for you to be happy. It's all about your own perspective. It's all about letting things go when they come up. You know what I mean? It's
feeling it and then processing it, releasing, and looking for the experience out of it. What can I learn about it? What can I learn about myself through this? Because we all want to blame it on everyone else when it's something bad. We all do. And then we're like, well, what am I supposed to learn? I wouldn't have had that experience if I wasn't supposed to learn. And then you can pull out further and be the observer, and it won't be such a trigger. Because I had a couple triggers over the weekend, and I had to like step back for 30 minutes and go, oh, okay. So obviously that was still in my field that I needed to work on, or it wouldn't have come up. It's not that person's fault. You know?
I had one last night about money, and I don't mind sharing this a little argument about money. And what I realized is, and it doesn't even matter what the argument was at all, but the way it made me feel, it goes all the way back to childhood. And you know how many years I've been working on cleaning up my inner child, right? It goes all the way back to childhood, right? With just that feeling. First of all, it's like an imprisonment feeling, like you're not getting the money for this, and you know what, you're not worth the money for this, or which always is not about you. It's about, the parent doesn't think they're worth the money, so why would they let you think you're worth them, that kind of thing. So yeah,
learn
yeah.
process.
And I don't really have, I mean, it's not like I have huge money problems, but it's just one of those things, that it just comes up, and you're like, well, I did not expect to react like this over, and I didn't let it all come. See, that's the thing when you work on yourself. I didn't let it all come out and be so nasty and have this huge extended fight. I said how I felt about it and just kind of let it go. And it kind of, gave it time. And then we resolved it so much easier. But you have
to kind of get ahead of it or catch it, because it is, because my husband's he's my trigger therapy. He'll say or not say, or selective hearing, whatever. And then I get irritated, and I know darn well, that I have to let it roll instead of trying to make a point, because it's like pointless that I'm trying to make a point.
Yes.
It's just pointless.
Yes, sometimes it is.
Because the only one who's getting worked up is me. No one else.
Yeah.
Life goes on.
Life does.
And that's just the way it is. So I have to pull myself out. Like, if you're going to react, shift your gear.
And you have to
speed into it.
I mean, I think it's important to get to know yourself and why, sometimes, because it took me a while to get to the point where I didn't want to rub this in until you got it. Do you understand? You will understand. But what is it that you're aiming for here? Is it really that important that someone suffer with you, that you share your suffering? Do you want to heal this side of yourself, or do you want to share your suffering? Do you want the world to suffer with you? And I think a lot of times that's kind of how we are. We get a little dramatic like that. We can't help it. This is what this is what we've always seen. But the thing is, well, I don't have to suffer. So, and why do I want someone else to suffer? Because it's just going to come back.
It's just going to come back. Suffering, how long you suffer, no matter what it is, no matter what the situation is. I mean, even death, how long you suffer is optional, because it really is inner work. You can't control anyone else's journey out there. It's like I can't control what my husband says to me. I said, I'm going to, this is what I would like him to say. And then I put it out to the universe.
Let him tell me how wonderful I am every day. What's wrong with him, universe?
So I know that I'm attracting that because I need to still let that go of having to get a point across, or for him to feel, or to get my point. He shouldn't have to understand my version.
Right.
Yeah. But people do. People get louder when they're trying to make a point, or to trying to get other people to understand. Turn the TV on, see it all day long. They get louder. Because they want someone else to understand it the way they do and see that they are right. But that doesn't mean they're right.
Or they're Italian. Look, I get so
You're Italian?
I get so mad at myself in these videos sometimes, because I'll watch them again and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm yelling over, but the hell about this? And I'm like, oh my God, Nannette, don't do that. What are you doing?
That's right.
Who did that, Adam?
Yeah. I'm just not used to having both of us up on the screen, so it feels weird looking to the side. So if I look like I'm not, whatever.
It's okay.
But
it's okay.
So I guess we just created a trigger for us, bringing all that up, didn't we?
Bringing up what trigger? Whose trigger?
We're talking about how we're talking about how we like notice things. We just notice things. Yeah.
I'm triggered about Italians. That's true. No, I'm just
spicy meatballs. That's it. Spicy meatballs. So there's lots of energies changing and shifting, but as you know, we all have to it's like sandpaper for a while until we shift our energy. You got to get to the point where you're sick of feeling down and out or victim-y or not feeling right in your body, not feeling like you're fulfilling what you want to fulfill. You got to get sick of that until that's when you'll surrender or give in or fall to your knees a couple more times. It's never been easy for me. Even if you get it, just because if you're enlightened you get it, but you still got to process and go through it.
Yes. It's not easier it's not even easier if you hear your guides constantly talk, because you ignore them when you don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I do it. I'm
hands up. Like, I don't want to hear it.
Whatever. Go away.
And then other times it's just natural and normal, but it's like, think of it as like going to Disneyland and you got to, what is it? The fast pass or whatever. You get to cut up to the front of the line.
Oh,
you still got to get in line. You still got to walk it and get there. You still got to do it, right? For that experience. Yeah. So you still got to have that experience. So whatever, it's really, it gets crazy how, so like we're having lots of synchronicities and things are flowing and you're just kind of floating around in life. Everything feels good in your body, meaning your emotional body. Then this is a natural feeling. There's soul essence coming through. And then we have those opposite, then when you feel like you're off track, like you're rocking on the track and you got two tires in the gravel, the side of the road, or hitting the little bumps in the road.
No, Adam.
You got to check in. Speed track. That's why he brought speed track up. Then that's when you got to check and go, where am I feeling off? What can I do to get back on track? How I got to get back out in nature, do things that are rooted in self-love and self-care.
Yeah, it's like you were saying about the natural energy of the soul, which is what? It's love. So why are we doing all this? Why are we letting these triggers come up and examining them and doing the inner work so that we can live in that emotion of love? And this is how we bring heaven to earth, right?
Right.
This is why we came here. I mean, I know it's not true for everyone, but I feel like if you're watching this, it is. So that's why we came here. We came here to experience the awful contrast of it and to bring the heaven to earth. How are you going to know that you brought it here without the contrast? And then you don't always stay in it, because how are you going to remember the contrast? You know what I mean? Like when we're not here, we're in it all the time. That feeling of love. If you stay in the feeling of love all the time and nothing rocks your boat, then you don't really know. And if you didn't earn it, if you didn't bring yourself there, by clearing yourself up, not earn it. I don't feel like, I'm not saying I don't feel like we have to suffer to get good stuff, but a lot of us, we took on a lot of stuff that we need to clear out to be in that pure energy, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's whatever stuck to us, especially if everyone's listening is probably an empath. So we've already picked up everyone else's stuff and we don't even know we're carrying other people's stuff too. I mean, their beliefs, not just their stuff, their beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that's where you got to go in there and kind of dust it all the time and not even realize it.
Oh, something you just made me think of something that I was thinking of earlier about this. And that is so true. Even this isn't someone else's, but this is something from earlier, and it comes up and it's less and less every time. But it's like, I have to realize I don't owe anyone anything. I don't have to answer to anyone. And I don't even know why it comes up. Like sometimes you'll think, well, why do I need to call that person? I don't owe them anything. You know what I mean? And it's one of those, I think, societal things that kind of hang around us where we think we have to explain ourselves to other people.
Well, because we had to explain ourselves to everybody growing up. Why you didn't do this or why you did that. You had somehow come up, and that just taught us how to kind of fib. It also just taught us how to fib.
Yeah, which years ago, I mean, this is a long time ago, where I decided I don't owe anyone anything and I'm not explaining myself to anyone. And it's still, this is my point, it still will pop into my consciousness as something, and then I'm like, wait, I don't have to do that. What do you mean? I don't,
you don't have to explain it. Right, because you don't, I mean, we were always told, like, you just couldn't say because, I didn't feel like going. You would never say that as a kid. I really just, no. So you'd say, oh, I got a tummy ache, or, you come up with something. You'd figure out some way to get around it that was more
because I
socially
don't like
acceptable.
going to church every
I don't
Sunday.
I don't like those people.
They're kind of mean. They act like they're
mean.
nice, but they're not. No.
So you can
that was a joke. I don't want anyone to be offended by my.
And so that you can look at those patterns and say, well, where's that come from? You know, if you don't like someone that cusses, you know, I mean, you figure out why. Why are you taking this so personal?
Is that you, Sarah?
Shit, no, it's not me.
Oh my gosh, she cursed. Like, I just think there's lightning coming in. Hold on.
It is thundering lightning right now, matter of fact.
It's not here. It's coming over though.
It kind of dig in there and figure out where's that coming from. Where were you taught that was completely wrong, or was a sin, or whatever? Doesn't mean you have to like it, but you know,
it's yours, I swear, what you said is true. I think the first thing you should do is say, "Is this mine?" And you'll know. Like, I feel like your gut or your heart or your energy will tell you if it's not yours. If it's not yours, just transmute it. Just take a breath and let it go, kind of thing. Yeah.
And cut it off. If you want to imagine that you've got a knife and you're steak knife and cutting it off, and whatever, that really helps. You know, using a visualization technique or brushing yourself or doing something, because if not, guess what? An hour from now, you're going to be thinking back to that. You're going to go right back to the other person's stuff. That's not even yours to fix or to deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And as an empath, so this will pass. This too shall pass. I want to just say that because I don't like people. We did a whole video on the superpower of empaths and stuff months ago, right? But the thing about it is it will pass, and it'll just start passing through you, because you'll pull your own power and you'll be so fully in your power. Now, sometimes you get tired, you just don't think about it and it still comes in, but then you're like, you know what, I don't think that's mine. It's easier and easier. But these are the training grounds for the empaths. These are the ways we have to move through and learn to find and stand in our own power. And so it is an actual superpower. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. You just got to learn to, like you said, stand in your own power and be empowered by it instead of dropping into that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out what is your energy, because you can only control your energy.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be the bigger energy. You got to be the yum energy. The best you can energy.
The yummy to my tummy energy.
That's right. The best you can. Just do the best you can. Then you got to let it go and figure out, well, why did that person lash out at me or whatever, you know, or, you know, someone on the road or whatever. And it's not, because it's not yours. It's their issues.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want it. So they're going to pass it on to the next person.
Yes. Don't take it. Let it fly through.
Change it and go, oh, and as we've talked about before, you change it. So if it's someone on the road, no, my husband's not the best at this, but I try really hard in the car with him. You know, he thinks he's the best driver on the road, you know,
in the world.
Probably. In the world. Yeah. Yes. And I'll say, you don't know, look, I said, then we'll pass by him. I said, look, it's an older grandma and grandpa that are driving. So of course they're going slower. You know what I mean? So he'll snap out of that, break that energy cord of wanting to be right, or think that he's got to teach them, you know, and pass by them and give them a dirty look or whatever it is.
It's like the cookie thief. I've told you that story, right? Wayne Dyer's cookie thief, one of my favorite stories ever. You know that story? Okay. So this woman's at the airport and she goes and she gets this little bag of cookies, and she sits down, she puts her cookies down, and she's settling through everything, and all of a sudden the guy sits down next to him, picks up a bag of cookies, and she looks at him real dirty, and so he takes a cookie and he hands it to her, and she snatches it, and then he eats one. And this goes on the whole time. I'm not going to make it a long story. This goes on. And finally, he pulls out the last one. He looks at it, and she's got that same mean, like, impatient look on her face, and he hands it to her. And she snatches it, and she eats it. And they call the flight. And he gets up and there's her bag of cookies right with her other bag. So the whole time, I love this story because we are all big fat cookie thieves, aren't we? We're big
love
fat
cookies. I love cookies.
I love cookies too, but how are we not cookie thieves? Like we assume, we always do. We do this in a lot of things. We assume an energy. We assume an attitude. We assume. So
yeah.
I love to always think of the cookie thief. And then there's the other story he would tell.
That's a great story. I haven't heard that one.
About the kids, like this other airport story where there's these kids running around. They're so loud. They're so, you know how that goes, right? They're climbing on things and the dad's just sitting there looking down. And then the woman goes over and says, what is going on here? Your kids are all, I'm sorry, their mother died yesterday. And so the whole perspective changes, right? You never know why somebody's acting the way they're acting. You don't know why those kids are being little assholes. You don't know why that guy's ignoring the kids. I mean, not all men ignore their kids. That's a societal thought too. I just popped in there. You know, you don't know, you know, why the mom is impatient today. You don't know. People have their own things going on. So it's about compassion, right? Don't be a cookie thief and have some compassion.
Well, that's the way that we're going to heal the planet, is becoming more, self-compassion and becoming more compassion towards others. Yes. And understanding you don't know. Getting frustrated, because the only person getting frustrated is the person, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then usually when we're in a lower vibe like that, you know, it's very self-centered. It's all about us.
Oh yeah. About us. Oh yeah. Well, everything is about us.
Well, it is about us.
I mean, it is. The whole world is about us.
But we want everything to change for us. That's the only way. We can't see it outside that when we're in it.
And that's true surrender. When you can let go, when you can be the observer, when you can take whatever comes to you with grace and compassion and openness. Sounds so pretty, and it's beautiful, but it takes work. It takes practice, you know.
It takes everyday practice, because we get faced with stuff every single day. Every day we get faced with things, and then you just you face it and you go on to the next. And then you know that the universe is based on our thoughts. We're magnets. So that boomerang's going to come back, thump you in the head. It just will.
I just saw one go boop.
So then you're like, oh, I created this somehow. You know, the National Enquirer wouldn't be in business if there weren't stories to fabricate.
That's right.
No.
And I feel like this energy is going to stay prevalent the rest of the year. I feel like the energy, energetically wise, and you know, astrologically, whatever. I'm not an astrologer, but what I feel is, in my own intuition, is all the portals and all the solar eclipses and all the things and the Lion's Gate and the new moon, it all culminated. It's all like this almost energetic tornado that wants to spend the rest of the year making people move. If you are an empath and you're sensitive to energy, and this is what you signed up for, you're not a victim, you know, it's just set up for us. It's set up for us to take our risks, to take our moves, to take care of ourselves, to give ourselves the love and the compassion and the time that we need to let these things go so we can live a better life, you know?
Yeah, it feels like it's going to even carry on for a while until we get a new norm again, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of get more experience under our boots. Say, okay, now this is how we handle this one. This is how we handle this energy.
I heard under our booties. I heard ease.
And I think it's going to be a little weary for another year or two. But it's because everyone's different, though. Like, you know, you may handle it a lot easier than someone else, you know, depending on what's going on in your personal life.
I don't know about easier. I think that
you're more resilient. More resilient,
and some of us are wanting to get it over with faster so we can help others along the way too. You know what I mean? I mean, look, you did it even earlier. Yeah, I mean, no, we're never perfect. We're never perfect, but
And everyone's in a different place, even in their awakening. Those people that watch this video, some people wake right up with all their abilities, and then they go through some deep healings and plummet back down for a while. Everyone goes in and out different.
Yeah, but that's just like the first kid syndrome. Let me tell you about that, because I've been watching people do this too. Wake up, oh, I got all these abilities. I feel so great. Bam! It's like the first kid syndrome, and then you have the second kid, and you're like, what the hell just happened? What happened? Oh God, but it's so true. I watch people do this all the time. Ooh, I could do that. I could do that. Oh my God, they fall so hard but I think that also, because the energy is so strong, that's what's going to happen. So maybe that's kind of a compassion thing, because you know what you're going back to, or you're going to be a different person, so it'll be a different feeling. But you know what it all is for. You know what it feels like to be in your power and be awakened. So here you go, have a taste of your power, because we're about to make you take care, or you are. I'm a self-empowerment person. I feel like we put ourselves in these positions. You're about to clean yourself up. So
right. Well, it's not and a lot of times we want to put on speed wash. You know what I mean? And then you go, oh, I guess I have still some dirt and some stains I need to take care of. And it comes up and you got to go, okay, I got to put it on the agitator again and go through the whole cycle a few more times. Everyone's different. Because we're so used to wanting to think ahead of how it has to be, based on how we were conditioned and programmed growing up.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not like it's not like you just like getting a driver's license. It's like, oh, you put your hours in, you take your test. It doesn't make you're a good driver.
Nope.
You got to practice and work through your fears. And if you don't have fears, you got to work on leveling out. So you're a cautious driver too.
Yes.
You know, so there's
not a race lots of driver.
Right. I'm the best race car driver in the whole world. So there's always a process. And so I think there's stigma with the awakening process, that people think that once they awaken, then they're kind of like can sail through life. Like you get this free golden ticket, but it doesn't work that. It's like anything else. It's like, the gold's coming off.
Put it back on. Put it on. Put it on. Put it
on. But it's still a process. It's just you are rising above, so you can observe wider and broader, and see, be an observer and of the experience versus the knee-jerk reaction of it.
Yes. And I think that this is a good place to stop if you do. And if anybody wants to hear more about this or branch off from this, just write something below, or send us a message in one of the links where we share this on Facebook. That's fine.
So I don't even remember what we said now.
I remember what we said, but kind of.
Go back, because it looks like I have a smudge on the screen because I look like move over here. It's throwing me all completely off, because I had to reboot it. Yeah. And the camera's right here where I lift open the screen, so there might be hand lotion on it too. Whatever.
She puts the lotion on the screen.
Well, essential oil lotion, yeah.
Oh my God.
No, I don't put lotion on this. It's just right here where the camera is, see?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see it. It's funny. Okay.
You're funny.
So do you have anything else to add before we go?
I have no idea. I'm not even sure that's what we're going to talk. We went from the two people at the nail salon to all over the place.
Fun. Those were fun stories. I loved it. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed our craziness.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
And we love you all. Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.